Hey chat, it's Crafty Type 1, and we just got a bunch of rumors and leaks on Zelda news happening next year. And coincidentally, it's the 40th anniversary. In this video, I'm gonna go over what we might see, as well as what we know of so far. But before we get into that, I'm hosting a $70 eShop gift card giveaway that ends this month in like 5 days. So don't forget to comment on this video and make sure you're subscribed. In the description is a sheet that outlines all the comments that are valid for this giveaway, as well as rules and regulations. Thank you guys so much for the support. I wish you the best of luck. So this comes from Attack the Backlog and Nash Weedle, who basically did a podcast talking about a bunch of stuff that they know of. Nash Weedle being a pretty relevant leaker, if you want to call him that, clearly knowing some inside information, correctly guessing the Switch 2's reveal, as well as a bunch of other things. And Attack the Backlog as well, knowing stuff when it comes to Nintendo Directs. But this was more of just a conversation between the two and kind of sharing information that they both know of. This was actually all in Spanish.
Y la verdad que sí que...
But was gracefully translated by Attack the Backlog. Luckily, there has been subtitles. But this was also summarized by Nintendo Prime, really relevant Nintendo news YouTuber, cataloged everything and made it easier to digest. This right here is an excerpt from that catalog, where Nate the Hate and Attack the Backlog say, in January, a marketing campaign begins with several dates related to Zelda. He doesn't really know what it's for. Multiple dates would suggest it's not the movie, and it's possible Age of Imprisonment is coming out in January or February. So it could be related to that. What's weird is that he was told this is a marketing campaign that will last all year. They have several marked dates throughout the year, all about Zelda. Probably for the 40th. And actually, funny enough, in this discussion, they talk about it where he mentions this marketing campaign. And I believe Attack the Backlog said something like, next year's Zelda's 40th. So yeah, and it makes sense. There's a lot of Zelda projects that are currently in the works that we know of. One of those being a Switch 2 exclusive, being Age of Imprisonment. So this being actually a January, February release makes a lot of sense, because that's what I've been thinking for a while. This game's release date is this winter and not 2025 winter or, something similar. This winter could mean, early 2026. So if this comes out right in the beginning, it makes sense. And honestly, this feels like a game that could come out in the beginning of the year. If you guys don't know, December, January, February aren't really prime slots for video games because, everyone got their spending out of the way during the holiday season. And then it starts picking up March, April because of spring and then summer. But considering how we haven't gotten a release date for this game and just the overall calendar, I do think it's a possibility that this comes out in the beginning of next year. And it would be interesting because they could brand the year as the year of Zelda. Like, of course, it's this 40th anniversary, but do you guys remember the year of Luigi? Like, I don't know. I think they could do something like that. Especially if there's apparently multiple release dates. Of course, we'll probably get news on the Zelda movie. But when it comes to the Zelda movie, this is coming out supposedly on May 7th. That's the release date that's been shown off and has already started filming. So it's really hard to see. We'll probably get a tease of some kind. The rumor exactly says they have several marked dates. So it could definitely be like a Legend of Zelda Direct, like a 40th Direct. I wouldn't be surprised if they did something like that. Right now seems like a perfect time to kind of relaunch the franchise. I know they kind of did that with Breath of the Wild. I think everyone's kind of getting a little tired of like the same world. So right now is a perfect time to, show off that world. Of course, starting with Age of Imprisonment in like January, and then maybe going toward the older games. There have been rumors cataloged by Andre's Restart about Zelda Ocarina of Time remake, as well as maybe even potentially more. Go ahead and watch his video. His will be linked in the description. But this would seem amazing. And hypothetically, for the 40th anniversary of Zelda, what if they did a 3D All-Stars collection like they did Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, Ocarina of Time? I think that would be amazing. But I think from the rumors that have been shown off, it's been more of a HD up-res, definitely like reimagined of Ocarina of Time, which would be amazing for the 40th anniversary. I think we're kind of getting some hints already with this Deco Tree set releasing earlier this year. This is definitely kind of like a pre-celebration, but I do think there was like a rumor that there were more Zelda sets in the making. I think Kakariko Village or, you know, something similar would be amazing. But yeah, I'm kind of just listing off a bunch of things. But essentially, with multiple dates, it doesn't exactly mean games, of course, because like I think like 4 Zelda games in 1 year would be a little crazy. But definitely, I think we'd get Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, a 2D Zelda, and maybe even a like a remaster 3D Zelda. Like again, think Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask would be a perfect bundle. If they wanted to do something like that with the same engine. Zelda is what got me into Nintendo as a whole, if that makes sense, and thus Nintendo news. I wouldn't have gotten into, you know, Splatoon, Mario, if it wasn't for Wind Waker on the GameCube. And it is worth noting, we have gotten Wind Waker on, you know, NSO GameCube, so it kind of like rules out maybe a possibility of it getting a remake. I think the rumblings are pointing toward Ocarina of Time getting some sort of HD remaster. I also want to talk about Age of Imprisonment coming out in the beginning of next year, because if that is the case, that does leave the December slot for a game, whether that be Splatoon Raiders or something else. A lot of people are assuming we're not going to get a December game. That's also a possibility. But for me, it feels right now that Nintendo's holding back a lot of stuff. And whether that be like a Switch 2 edition, I definitely think we're going to get something in December. But Age of Imprisonment feels, it's like that type of game that feels like it could work well both in, you know, December and or February or January. It's just not like a massive title, but could still have that pull because it's, you know, a Zelda franchise. Let me know you made it this far into the video by commenting down below what you think will be shown off and what you want to be seen for Zelda in 2026. Don't forget to subscribe and comment to be entered into that giveaway. And thank you guys, thank you Jesus and Evan for being channel members. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Also, Hollow Knight later today.